It's First Friday. The clubs are gonna be lit. You have to come out with me tonight, my.
Girl, I don't know why you put up with that. You can do so much better without him.
Jeff? Yeah, Jeff, they used to live up on Post Road, right? Yeah, I used to know him. I grew up with that.
Did you watch the news last night? Man, my is always the first.
Oh, this is my song, and I ain't going in unless it's with my.
The N-word has been burned into the psyche of black folk in this country, not unlike the numbers branded on the bodies of Jews in concentration camps. And its stigma is equally as indelible. Hello, I'm Amy Christie, and today on JMD TV, we are here to bring you a story that is long overdue. The N-word. As I was scrolling through my timeline, I came across a poem entitled The N-Word as Sculpture by Joe Morton, and it stuck with me. And after reading this poem, I wondered, how would I construct the N-word as a sculpture?
Why is this relevant? Why should anyone still care? Well, since the arrival of African Americans in this country, the N-word has been used as a derogatory and belittling term towards blacks.
So as time progressed, and we were freed from the bounds of slavery, we soon fell to a different oppressor, the one of familiarity. Once we became liberated men and women, we didn't leave that degrading term in the past. We actually took it with us. And that was the beginning of a dilemma that would follow us for years. I searched across America for individuals in the black community that have accepted this as a fact and are speaking out against the use of the N-word. I then asked them, how would they create the N-word as a sculpture? I was pleased with what I found. The first individual I came into contact with on my search was no other than Dr. Antonio Johnson, located right here in Augusta, Georgia. His passion for educating young people of color is displayed in his profession as chair of the graduate program of African American Studies at his alma mater, Paine College, which is ranked the #1 grad school for African American Studies in the country. If you were a sculptor, how would you sculpt the N-word?
If I were a sculptor, I would create a memorial for all those who have suffered from its poisonous and debilitating effects. I would construct the word out of deeply scarred and rusted steel to symbolize its onerous antiquity and unfortunate endurance.
Dr. Johnson's comments in this interview was just the beginning of what I would later realize to be a trending theme in all of my dialogues with those who contributed. So to keep the momentum going, I headed south to Jacksonville, Florida, where I found sociologist Dr. Kenedra Roundtree. Dr. Roundtree was announced Author of the Year 3 years in a row by Reader's Digest and has won the 2015 National Book Critics Circle Award after selling 150 million copies of her book, The Divisions of Society, The African American Modern Psyche, worldwide.
That is a great question. I must say I would make letters as tall as the average person to suggest that human beings, not animals, were demeaned by this word. Then I would overlay the tarnished metals with clumps of thick black paint, let them dry, and pick at them, leaving deep wounds. to emphasize that the African culture that was debased, cut away, and left to decay.
Dr. Roundtree spoke on the damage the N-word has done to the African American culture. And this very ruin is the #1 concern for African American activist, Reverend Kristen Joseph. When I traveled to Los Angeles, California, I stepped foot inside the doors of her church, Cedar Rock AME. Cedar Rock is the largest church in the city of Los Angeles, and it is here where Reverend Joseph conducts her outreach program, MBB, My Black is Beautiful.
I would inlay the ulcerated steel with hair, segments of human bone, and dog's teeth, to recall the outrageous violence with which the protesters marching under the banner of civil rights were met. I would take flesh-like fragments of the American flag and embed them in the corners of the word to represent the lacerated tissues of American democracy.
As I was nearing the end of this expedition, I remembered how Reverend Joseph urged us not to forget the history and struggle of our people and of the word. I found this to be a commonality between her and the last man we spoke with for this segment, Dr. Samuel Lee Fudge. Besides being an Academy Award-winning actor, Dr. Fudge is the owner of the only Black-owned newspaper in the state of New York, the Panoramic Chronicles. When I visited him in his New York office, his words became the perfect flavor of icing on this long-awaited and necessary cake.
Well, I would dot the I with the eye of providence, as seen on the back of our $1 bill, but with a cataract, to remind us that this word, as connected to slavery and blinded by religion, was all about profit and oppression. I will put at the end of this word an explanation point made of whips and tied all together and dotted with a cannonball to recall the Civil War and the end of slavery.
Food for thought. There are only 2 words in the entire English language that have no translation in any other. This meaning these 2 words in a foreign language could simply be said in English. The first word being hallelujah. The second, you guessed it, the N-word. Though this subject matter may have made some viewers uncomfortable, that is completely okay. The first step to solving any problem is addressing it head on, and with that comes a bit of uneasiness. I will end this segment with a quote from the poem The N-Word as Sculpture by Joe Morton. I would stain the word with blood, the blood shed by freedom fighters everywhere, and bury the entire construct in buried ground, so one could stand over it and read it, and to illustrate that wherever this word is planted, nothing grows. I'm Amy Christie with JMD TV. Thanks for watching.